Prying parents of Reddit, what secret of your child did you discover that made you wish you hadn't? Wasn't my child, but I used to work in a phone shop and I was transferring this kid's photos to his new phone. It was the first of that model I sold, and little did I know it had a pre-installed app that showed a gallery on the second homepage after you swiped right. I was explaining how to use it and the default image the gallery function decided to select was a fully frontal nude photo of this poor kid's junk. Frankly, I didn't know where to look. He must have only been 13, maybe 14. I tried to subtly shift the phone away from his mum, but she had already seen it. He got an absolute public telling off in the middle of the store. Went on for some time while I was just awkwardly holding this phone with a photo of this kid's D. Good times. You get to see some interesting things on people's phones. A lot of nasty stuff in here. Let me add some wholesome memes to the mix. My 5-year-old daughter was riding in the backseat auto bubbling away. Eventually she said, "Daddy, I don't think you know this, but when I was young, I used to pick up little bits of things off the floor and put them in my mouth." "Really? What kind of things, sweetie?" "Pieces of paper, fuzzies, things like that." A thoughtful look crossed her face, like she was trying to make a really difficult decision that would determine her fate. Finally she settled on honesty, and I definitely ate a flower once. My kids aren't quite old enough to ruin my view of their innocence yet, but when I was a kid my grandma found my rather hefty porn stash under the bathroom counter one day while cleaning. Had my own small bathroom at the time. Got really embarrassed about it until I realized that she just straightened them out into a neat stack and never said a word about it to me to this day. Hell of an old lady. Edit. Forgot I posted this comment and holy hell it blew up. Everyone loves an awesome grandma. As a prying child looking for confiscated video games, I discovered my mom hides my Game Boy way better than she hides her strap-on. We adopted one of our kids and he is biracial, while the rest of the family is white. Back when he was in 2nd grade, I found a writing assignment that the kids had to do. They essentially had to write 3 things they would wish for if they had a genie. One of the things he wrote was, "I wish I was white." That really hit me hard. I thought we had done enough to incorporate his racial cultural background. It wasn't something we just ignored. It hurt to see that he didn't want to be who he was and that we had something to do with that. I hated that he felt that way and I hated that I found it. In hindsight, however, I am glad I found it. It opened up the dialogue even more and our son revealed that he wanted to move somewhere where he wasn't one of the only black kids. We did end up moving to a much more diverse area a few years later and I love it here. My son is now in middle school and is pretty comfortable talking about racial identity. As much as it hurt finding the paper, I think it was beneficial to get it out in the open. That my then 14-year-old stepdaughter had a thing for anime porn. I mean, hey, do your Naruto and Pikachu thing. But damn, you're the daughter of 2 IT parents. Delete your browser history. They died in WoW against a low-level mob. Not quite the question you asked, but my mum did find a letter I wrote to my BF before the days of internet and texting, where I described how I was going to give him a blowjob. Couldn't look her in the eye for weeks. Even tried to pass it off as English homework. I was 14 at the time. 2 decades later I still cringe when I remember it. Not parent. Not the kid in question. Probably worse though. I've told this story on Reddit before but no one really cared. I'll post the cliff notes anyway. Media class. Make group YouTube account. 3 of us share a YouTube account. Me 15. Her 16. Her. Female. Friend 16. Her younger brother 11. See where this is going? We go to her house to film. She stays logged into YouTube on her home PC. Fast forward few weeks later in class. Searching YouTube cloud history whilst connected to projector. Multiple and repeated 11-year-old girls in white panties video and search variations almost daily. Girl assume it's me and that I've been stealing her underwear whilst at her house. Not fun. Rumors spread. Teachers got involved. I denied everything. Got suspended. Threatened with being expelled. Ended up in counseling. Got billed for underwear I didn't steal too. Ended up leaving school few months later. All because that little it hadn't discovered Pornhub. Golden shower vids on Pornhub in my 12-year-old's browser history. Update. For those that had comments about the whitelist, it's not a strict whitelist. I use OpenDNS, which starts with a whitelist database, with selectable categories. Unknown sites after that have to be discreetly added. As far as comments about oppressing my daughter's sexuality, we have open and healthy discussion about those things. It's just not centered around fringe videos found on the internet. For comparison, I don't talk about world news while sitting around watching ISIS beheading videos either. Those that think otherwise should really take some time to call CPS or their local Leo office and vet the legality of how they think they should be raising their children. Actually found this out from a neighbor who frequented Omegle. I believe that's what it's called. When you webcam chat with strangers, and apparently stumbled onto my daughter and her friend putting on a show, skin and all. I had no idea what to do. Not a parent, but when I was about 15 and in the process of fapping, my mom came into my room without knocking. I was so shocked and at a loss for words. All I could say in reaction was, "I'm just checking if it works." Not sure how that could have changed the situation in any way. Lol. Needless to say, she always knocked before coming into my room after that little incident. I was once really hungry, so I ate a banana in the shower and threw the banana peel on the shower floor. Dad found it later and asked me, quite angrily, what debauchery I was up to with a banana in the shower. He probably thought I was shoving it up my ass. Jesus, Dad, your poor son was just hungry. Leave me be, you old duck. Update. A lot of people are alerting me to this show error range thing, and I'm going to try it tonight, except I won't leave any trash behind. I'll actually put it in the bin, where it belongs. My friend's dad walks into him watching porn and he accidentally clicked a gay porn advertisement. His dad awkwardly closed the door and will forever think his son is secretly gay. I used my dad's computer and in his history was 2 lesbians wrestle. The winner ducks the loser. Fair enough. While I never pried, I was placing clean laundry into my son's dresser drawers when I spied several hot lesbo porn magazines. Problem was, they were mine, and I wasn't yet out of the closet, and I was still married to his dad. Yeah. I'm not a prying parent, but I am a prying child. I discovered the kind of porn my mom is into by seeing what windows she had open in her phone's browser. She now knows what incognito mode is. Let it be known. Kids have WTF moments about parents too. This one is a ducked up one. Brother 1 told my mom that he has been using Brother 2's computer to download music. This is the era of LimeWire, maybe 2007, and saw that Brother 2 had literally thousands of CP stuff on his computer. My brothers were in their early 20s. My mom checked Brother 2's computer and confirms that her child is downloading CP. What does she do? Nothing. She even bought Brother 2 another laptop when his became unusable due to the amount of viruses and malware. 2 years ago, the feds raided my mother's house. Plot twist, they were there for Brother 1. He started to download CP. She now has the honor of having both of her sons in prison and are 6 offenders. Of course she makes it all about herself. It's a shame. Brother 1 was the one who was supposed to make it. I was trying to take a picture on my nephew's phone and discovered he had a taste for intense hentai. Got to hand it to him, though. He chooses quality stuff. My mum went into my MSN chat logs when I went to go live with my dad. I was not a savvy rebel. Forgot to check don't save, and found all my cybering. I was like 14. She said it was way worse than the I hate my parents type of stuff. My wife and I are both retired, so we volunteered to house sit when my son, his wife and their 3 kids spent 6 weeks in Europe last summer. We discovered their video collection and were surprised to find their favorite pastime seems to be hosting gangbangs with my Dill as the center of attention while our son films the action. We were floored but never said a word or let on in any way. They're both great people, loving parents and responsible professionals with great careers, and we're not going to let this kink change our opinion of them in any way. But we do kind of giggle and snicker to ourselves now when they ask us to have the grandkids over for the weekend. My 7 years old at the time, Google search history said big bouncy boobs. I was proud. His mom was devastated. I don't have kids, But I found out a former roommate had a bizarre fascination with me, a few photos of me sleeping, and one of my boxers, unwashed and stashed away in her room. I noped the hell out of there shortly after. Not a parent but a child. When I was 8 and in the 2nd grade we had a project involving me having to look my address up online. I barely knew how the internet worked and this was a time before all the censoring of porn from the first page of search engines. My district was coming and so one of the things I clicked on was a video of a man going to Pound Town on a scrotum. I had no idea what I was looking at. Couldn't even tell it was human. But my mom walked in only to find 8-year-old me mesmerized by this bouncing ballsack on the screen. Judging by her calm reaction I think she realized that it was an innocent mistake, but I can imagine the thoughts that went in rapid succession through her head in that moment. Not a prying parent but I am a nosy son. I went through my mom's phone once in my entire life and I've regretted it since. When I was about 10 yo, I was on my mom's phone and looked at her text messages with my dad. She asked him if he wanted her to bring anything home for dinner and he replied pussy. Never touched my parents' phone since. I found out they don't know how to use private browsing on the iPhone. All history saved. This disappointed me more than the actual history. This is about parents but I don't know when else I'll get to tell. One time in high school I came home on a night where I had said I would be staying at a friend's. Walked into the living room to see a porno on the 50 inches TV screen. But they weren't even watching. They were just chillin' and playing cards on the coffee table while a girl blew some guy in the background. I just go in the window or make ridiculous amounts of noise when I come in nowadays. Back 5 or 6 years ago, my mom got an iPad and it was the treasure of the household. She didn't let anybody use it but always kept in her room on a charger, mostly because she's technologically inept. One day my 7-year-old brother was secretly playing Candy Crush on it when he heard my mom coming up the stairs. Not wanting to get caught with the iPad he put it back on her nightstand plugged in and hid under the bed. What he failed to notice at the time was that not only was my mom coming up the steps, but my dad also. My dad at the time was close to 300 pounds. Since then he's lost over 55 lbs. They open the door, jump on the bed, and proceed to do it with my little brother under the bed. Due to the weight of my dad and mom on the bed, his head was slammed into the ground with every thrust. Poor kid had to endure that for several minutes, and had to wait for the two of them to go to the bathroom so he could make his escape. He doesn't like to talk about it to this day and I don't think he's told my parents about that. All he wanted was to play some Candy Crush. When I was early in my teens we didn't yet have a computer or the internet but we did have Cinemax, and my friend Doug introduced me to late night movies on the weekends. I never got caught with that but as a teenager who read comics and was now fully aware of female anatomy, I would try to draw pictures of Rogue or Jean Grey naked. I used to hide them either inside comics or between my mattress and box spring. I never considered that my mom would one day change my sheets. She told me she was disappointed with me for drawing the pictures but impressed with the artwork so she put it in her hope chest with all my other id she was proud of. I was embarrassed then but now in my 30s it's nice to know my mom cared that much. Not my kid, but a younger cousin, 16. I was asked by his computer illiterate parents to fix his laptop. As it turns out his browser was full of younger boy older guy porn. I even found a dating profile where he was looking for much older men. His entire half of the family is very redneck and homophobic so I cleared his history. When I gave him his computer back, I showed him how to use private browsing. I then apologized for what I was about to say but felt obligated then explained to be careful looking for anyone so much older as it wasn't legal for a couple years yet and due to this he may be finding some real creepers. I then spent the next 4 years correcting his family and calling them out over their homophobic comments. Played the long game with changing their opinions. My cousin just married his boyfriend and his entire family except for one uncle showed. First time I teared up at a wedding. Edit. Thanks for the gold and the kind words. I never would have thought that something so simple to me would mean so much to so many. As a guy with gay friends I guess I'm not overly exposed to the trials so many have to go through just to be themselves. Internet hugs. For all. When I was probably 16 I took a picture of my hard-on to send to a chick I met online. With my mom's computer. I thought I was so ducking smart by putting it in a folder inside a folder with several empty folders lol. Or when I was maybe 13 and got the email address of the wrestler Sable from WWF, back when it was WWF, and emailed her telling her I wanted to duck her, using Outlook Express, with the email login credentials that were already on the computer. This is probably why they thought it was me that ordered pay-per-view porn that time when it really wasn't. The other things were me, yes, but that definitely wasn't. Not a parent but a brother, and this is a repost front my older response to this same question. Little brother was young and had to figure out why the PC was so slow. Slow because of it being old, not a virus. Went to the search history and found Minecraft porn with some tabs opened. I deleted the history and have yet to tell anyone but you guys and some friends. I discovered that my son at the age of 13 was dealing pot at his middle school after he stole a scale from the science teacher to weigh some drugs he thought he was getting cheated on. Yeah. He got expelled for 1 year in addition to legal ramifications. He's 21 now and doing well. He also knows my Reddit name. Hi son. Love you. : Well, this is from my perspective. Not my parents, but I know it still probably was awkward. I have a habit of being too tired I fall asleep while enjoying some porn. Mum came in to wake me up. Found me butt naked, face down, with porn playing on my phone. She's a good sport though, we had a laugh. Edit. First comment over 1000. Glad everyone can enjoy the grotesque menagerie that is my life. Not even really prying, but came home from work early one day and heard the shower running in the bathroom my 17-year-old son uses. Then heard some decidedly loud sounds of enjoyment from a female. Figuring none of wanted to deal with the embarrassment of an interruption, I retreated to the living room. About 15 minutes later my son and his girlfriend come downstairs and are quite surprised to see me already home. Figuring this would be a good time to twist the knife a little, I said, "So, what were you guys up to in the bathroom? Together?" My son stammered out, "Well, we had been in the pool and wanted to wash off the chlorine and we were in a hurry so we went in together, but we kept our bathing suits on." Then his girlfriend looked at him like he was the world's biggest idiot and said, "That's what you're going to go with?" He looked at her and said, "Yep, that's what happened." She looked at me and said, "Okay, we're going with his story." I told them it sounded reasonable.